Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple 1. I've talked about this subject before, and it's the depletion of our ammo, our stockpiles, be it from rockets to artillery to everything that we're sending over to Ukraine. I've had some people that work in the industry, in the logistical industry of providing weapon systems to the U.S. Army and the U.S. military, people that manufacture certain parts. I'm not going to tell you what, but they're being used up a lot. They actually work at the plant, and they say there is definitely a problem. It takes so long to remanufacture things because we're not set up for it, and there's a very limited amount of stuff that can be produced. But let me read you this, more information, and this comes from the New York Times. Details more of a desperate behind-the-scenes scramble for U.S. and Western officials to keep up with the steady supply of arms and ammunition, especially artillery munition, 155 millimeter shells, and these are going to Ukraine. So they're definitely using a lot up. These are being sent over. 155s were not really used during the war on terrorism, if you want to call it was a war on terrorism, because they just weren't needed. Yeah, occasionally they would be used, but mostly no. 155s are used army against army, peer-to-peer fighting. So it sounds like now that the United States is tapping into the ammo that we have left in Israel, and this ammo, munitions, is for Middle East conflict. So it's right there. Also, they say that it's available for Israel if they need it to defend their country, but this is our stuff that we've stored there, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. Also, they're saying that there is another supply of this 155 in particular stored in South Korea, and they're actually using that. They're drawing down out of that 155s. That's how much Ukraine needs the 155. It's weird because this stuff was purchased really for our defense. I do not see the conflict between Ukraine and Russia as a defense of the United States. So it's being used up in a record amount. As I look across the logistical problems, they're unbelievable. You can't even get car parts. You can't even get eggs. Just basic things you can't get. And now we're using up at a high rate sophisticated munitions that are not going to be replaced in time. So we're using our stockpile that's reserved in the Middle East and Israel for a conflict there. We're using the stuff in South Korea for a conflict with Korea. So it's going on and on of us not having enough. I'm concerned. I've done a video like this before, and I was concerned then. It seems like the American industrial base will not be able to quickly replenish that, and it's at a high cost. This is taxpayer money, and as you know today, we are in a problem with the debt limit. They're going to have to do some sophisticated, funny business with the numbers and with the cash we have on hand to keep us from defaulting on our debt. So where we're going to get more money to start rebuilding. So really, we need to ask ourselves, why are the powers that be using all this to defend Ukraine instead of using it to maybe potentially one day defend the United States? Really the doctrine with the Pentagon, they thought any major conflict that we went peer-to-peer with either Russia or China would really be settled in about 96 hours, and this would definitely involve nuclear weapons, I believe. So that's why they thought, next big war, we're going to be over quick. As you can see in Ukraine, this thing is dragging on and on almost a year now, and you're using up vast amounts of supplies. I love watching World War II documentaries on TV. It just shows the huge logistical machine that was behind this effort, and a lot of it was the U.S. We were pumping out things every day. We don't have that industry anymore, so we're not going to pump out anything. Also, a lot of these raw materials we use now are China supplies them. So if we're in a war with China, we won't be getting raw materials to defend ourselves or build weapon systems. So it's very concerning to me. Also, let's look at our strategic petroleum reserves. The president is just decimating that. It's at a level that it shouldn't be. That is reserved for an emergency, not to lower prices. So if we go into a conflict right now, we definitely have less petroleum, we definitely have less munitions, and we definitely can't really even keep up with the quota for the military. They're definitely downgraded. We can't get enough men and women to serve. Also, the standards of the military, I believe, has collapsed. Just the bottom line, they're not the same standards. Also, we have the dollar being destroyed. The value of the dollar is going to be totally destroyed, and that's going to go back to our debt. You also have our borders wide open. So there is people coming and going. We can't have accountability. We don't know who these people are. We don't know if, a lot of them are military-age men, and what are they doing? So there's a lot of things happening. To me, it looks like a planned destruction of the U.S. You just can't accidentally be destroying the dollar, increasing the debt, destroying or limiting our petroleum reserves, destroying our military, depleting our weapons and weapon systems. They're also talking about, I think they're already sending 50 Bradley fighting vehicles over there. I will tell you this point blank, I have first-hand account of Bradleys inside the reserve units that are not even working, that are so short parts that can't even function, that can't even train. So 50 working Bradleys could be used inside the United States to train. Right now, no questions asked. I could give you armories that need them right now, that need parts to keep equipment running. Also reports of other type of armor that could be going over there. Plus, they're throwing around tanks. Some Europeans have already given tanks. Some are waiting for us. So more things will be depleted. Am I concerned? Yes. What am I going to do about it? So you think, okay, Dave, all this thing's happening. First of all, the best thing you do is just pray. Pray for wisdom of what you need to do as a family. Calling your congressman is not going to work. None of that's going to work. They have a plan, and their plan is definitely the destruction. For some reason, they want to limit our ability to defend ourselves, defend our country. So for me, it's just prepping, being prepared, looking at anything that, in case we do get into a conflict, what is going to be in short supply. If you remember during World War II, a lot of things were in short supply. They had metal drives where they collected metal so they could recycle it. Definitely rubber. Tires were very short supply. So there's a lot of things now that we would be decimated because we don't make it here, or we have to import things. One thing I'm doing is, if you have a weapon system, a firearm that uses 9mm, 223, 5.56, make sure you stock up on this. Right now, we're not short this. There's plenty in the inventory in the U.S. arsenal, plenty of small arms ammo. The problem will be, if we do get into a conflict, how fast will we use this up? Will we send a lot of this stuff overseas to other countries if they're assisting us? So one thing that you can do is definitely make sure you have an adequate supply of bullets. Primers could become short, or the government could step in, and even small manufacturers, the government say anything you make or anything you have to sell to the United States government. That is a definite plus. Also, night vision, D-balls for weapon systems. I highly recommend, if you're thinking about getting that, I'll put a link in here to a place where I get mine. Make sure you have a nighttime laser on your weapon so you can use your night vision and see it. Yes, they're expensive. You can't afford it. Then don't worry about it. But if you have money sitting around and you think you need it, then look into it. So I'll put a link down there where I get mine. But this is a planned destruction. This isn't done by accident. We are depleting. This is first-hand account from people in the industry. Granted, some of you are going to say, Dave, we got so many secret stockpiles of weapons and ammo. We do have it. But when we have to go across and get it from Korea, South Korea, and you have to get it from Israel, that shows us that it's not a lot still inside the United States. It is being depleted at a very rapid. We have guys in the military saying, hey, they're taking our stuff. Our weapon systems are disappearing. They're needing it over in Ukraine. So, not much you can do except continue prepping at a high level. Make sure if you think that you're going to need something that could be in high demand, like small arms, primers, bullets, stuff that if a conflict starts, is not going to be readily available. Thanks for watching.